Gu Kailai says Bo Xilai knew of money given to the family by merchants. Communications Authority releases its investigation report into ATV and calls for inspectors' access to sites of new chemical weapons attacks in Syria.
Hello and a very good evening. The wife of ousted Chongqing Communist Party boss Bo Xilai testified against him on day 2 of his landmark trial today. Gu Kailai said her husband knew of money given to the family by a businessman friend, as well as money provided by that friend to pay for a villa in France. Bo promptly hit back, dismissing his wife's testimony. Here's Jameson Wong.
Husband versus wife on day 2 of the high-profile trial. The court today released videotaped testimony from Bo Xilai's wife, Gu Kailai, during questioning earlier this month. Gu has already been given a suspended death sentence for the murder of British businessman Neil Heywood. In the video, she says Xu Ming, a Dalian businessman accused of bribing Bo, was a family friend who did them many favors in exchange for her husband's help. Bo's wife said Xu had paid for the family's air tickets and bought them gifts, including an electric scooter to their son, Bo Guagua. The court also heard the businessman provided money to Gu to buy a villa in the French Riviera and that Bo was aware of it. The former Chongqing party chief hit back. According to transcripts on the court's microblog, Bo called his wife insane. He also said Gu had been put under great pressure to testify against him. Bo has put up a feisty defense since his trial opened yesterday, recanting his earlier confession to bribery. He also faces charges of embezzlement and abuse of power.
The fact that Bo Xilai denied some of the charges came as a surprise, I think, even to the authorities, because they had agreed beforehand that he would not challenge the allegations leveled against him. However, we have also to understand that Bo Xilai considers himself to be a charismatic leader. So that's why, this being his last public performance, he is determined to leave a record in history which tallies with his reputation as an independent, maverick politician.
But Bo's defiance was roundly condemned by state-run media on the mainland even as the trial was underway. The People's Daily newspaper slammed his spirited defense as little more than futile quibbling. It said the evidence in the case is irrefutable. Another newspaper, the Guangming Daily, called the once rising political star scheming, domineering, and duplicitous, and that he continued to lie. Jameson Wong, TVB News.
Locally, the Communications Authority has concluded that ATV's main shareholder, Wang Zheng, had duly interfered with the station's operations. It also said Executive Director James Xing was unfit to lead ATV. The station has been fined $1 million over the case. Vicky Kong reports.
The dispute centered on Wang Zheng's role at ATV. The Communications Authority announced today the station's main shareholder had unduly interfered with its day-to-day management and operations.
The conduct of Mr. Wang can be seen in a lot of the meeting minutes, the weekly management meetings that have been provided both by ATV as well as by some other source, for example, like those people whom we have interviewed.
The Communications Authority also concluded that ATV Executive Director James Xing was no longer a fit and proper person to run the station. It also said Xing should not have allowed Wang to interfere with ATV's operations.
We take the view, having looked at all the evidence, that in fact this consultant arrangement is a sham arrangement, is really a disguise to enable Mr. Wang to undertake quite extensive activities, involvements, and involving himself in the management and control of ATV.
Shing was also found to have given Wang access to highly sensitive information, a move the authority called unusual. The Communications Authority decided to fine ATV $1 million for breaching its licensing conditions. It's requiring Shing to stop acting as a person exercising control at the station by September 3rd. And Wang is to refrain from exercising de facto control of ATV. And the broadcaster will have to submit a proposal in 3 months to try to improve the situation. ATV's license expires in 2015. The Communications Authority said they will take into account recent investigations when deciding whether a renewal will be allowed. James Shing issued a statement this evening saying his family had invested $1.6 billion in cash in ATV. He also thanked the public for supporting his work over the years. Vicky Kong, TVB News.
Turning overseas now, all eyes will be on the Nasdaq later tonight when the exchange reopens for trading after a mysterious technical breakdown last night left it out of action for 3 hours. Nasdaq officials said only that the problem lay in its system for disseminating prices and that it planned to investigate. Still, the mishap was an embarrassment for the world's second largest exchange, which hosts some of the biggest names in technology, including Apple, Microsoft and Google. Last night's incident was the latest in a series of problems to disrupt financial markets in recent years. Another notable incident was the so-called flash crash of 2010, which saw stocks plunge on the New York Exchange for a few seconds.
A tour bus carrying gamblers to a casino in the U.S. state of California overturned on a highway northeast of Los Angeles after sideswiping a car. 52 people, mostly elderly ethnic Chinese, suffered minor injuries. According to the police, the crash happened when the bus driver made a lane change to the left, struck the car and then overcorrected to the right. The bus, operated by a travel agency in Monterey Park, was heading to a casino in San Bernardino County. Many of the injured spoke only Putonghua or Cantonese and required translators. Some of them were able to get out of the bus on their own. The others were rescued by firefighters or drivers who had stopped to help. The freeway was partially closed for about 6 hours and traffic backed up for miles.
There are growing calls for UN inspectors to be allowed into areas around Damascus to investigate allegations that Syria's government carried out a chemical weapons attack, which left hundreds dead this week. Syria has kept silent on the inspection calls, while the US wants more information before deciding on any response. As outrage grows over the latest report of a chemical weapons attack in Syria, the United States seems to be sitting on the fence.
At this time, right now, we are unable to conclusively determine CW use.
But many others are increasingly convinced that chemical weapons were used and that a nerve agent like sarin was responsible for the deaths of hundreds of civilians, many of them children, earlier this week.
Sadly, I think it is real. We know that hundreds, potentially 1,000+ people are now dead in Damascus from this potential chemical attack, and there seems no other explanation.
Other experts would agree, with one former weapons inspector going so far as to blame the Syrian government.
That's a very sophisticated agent, which would largely be done by a nation state like Syria. Those who argue that the insurgents may have in a rudimentary way created their own, they're not going to be able to have sarin of that quality.
As a clearer picture emerges from this atrocity, some of the footage has been horrific, with much of it too graphic to broadcast. UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon renewed his push for Syria to allow inspectors access to investigate the allegations. Experts have warned that trying to establish what happened will get harder if an investigation is carried out more than 48 hours after the alleged attack.
After that period, they're going to have to start thinking about taking soil samples and water samples. And not only are those not as good in that they may well have interference in it, but it's going to be very difficult for them to be able to get a clear picture of what it is, and most importantly, that it belongs to the incident that happened.
France has said world powers must respond with force if the allegations that Syria's government was responsible prove true. Staying in the region now, and the streets of Cairo were calm today following the release of former President Hosni Mubarak from prison to a military hospital where he will be held under house arrest. The release of the former leader comes amid a sweeping crackdown on the Muslim Brotherhood and supporters of Egypt's first democratically elected president, Mohamed Morsi. Morsi was ousted from power early in July, and hundreds of his supporters were killed in a bloody crackdown earlier this month. Still, some groups of Morsi supporters have threatened to stage a Friday of Martyrs rally later today. Well, the British government yesterday launched a criminal inquiry after seizing potentially dangerous documents from David Miranda, the partner of a journalist who covered Edward Snowden's leaks about US and British spying activities. Authorities detained Miranda at Heathrow Airport for 9 hours last weekend before releasing him.
This claim at its heart involves the seizure of journalistic material, and the court accepted today that in order for the Home Office and police to look at that material, there has to be a genuine threat to national security. The Home Office and police now have 7 days to prove that there is a genuine threat to national security, rather than make mere assertions as they have done today. The undertakings that the police sought were stopped in their tracks, and some of the basis on which the police sought to justify their position was roundly rejected. They have also conceded...
And still to come in the news. The third anniversary of the Manila hostage tragedy. An anti-triad operation by police in Hong Kong, Macau and Guangdong. And the tidal bore of the Changtang River in Hangzhou. Welcome back. North and South Korea have begun talks on resuming the reunions of families separated by the Korean War in the 1950s. Delegates from both sides met at the border village of Panmunjom today to try and restart the reunions, which were last held in 2010. Pyongyang has also proposed another set of talks late this month and early September on resuming tours to Diamond Mountain in the north. Today's talks come as the two sides reached a deal last week to reopen a joint industrial zone which was shut down in April.
Some more local news now, and today marked the third anniversary of the Manila tour bus hostage tragedy in which 8 Hong Kong people were killed. Family members of some of the victims and survivors of the ordeal went to the Philippine Consulate General to present a petition letter as they tried to seek an official apology and compensation. But as Rani Samtani reports, there was no one at the consulate to receive the petition.
The mother and brothers of the slain tour guide Ma Sa-tse and survivors of the hostage tragedy observed a minute of silence outside the building in which the Philippine Consulate General is located. Just like last year, survivors and family members went there with a letter addressed to the Philippine president. Knowing that the consulate is usually closed on Fridays, they'd informed the office beforehand that they would be coming. But still there was no one there to receive their letter.
I feel sorry for the Philippine government because they promised to our Hong Kong government that today they will assign someone to receive our request. But this morning the Philippine consulate contact our Hong Kong government that they won't assign anyone to accept anything. So I think they're really not responsible.
They left the letter at the consulate's door. In the letter, they expressed disappointment that there has been no progress in meeting their demands over the last 3 years. The families and survivors of the tragedy have been asking for an official apology and compensation from the Philippine government. They also want certain Manila city and police officials to be held accountable for their negligence in handling the hostage crisis. The group later went to the Diamond Hill Columbarium to pay their respects to Ma Sa-tse. Rani Samtani, TVB News.
2 Democratic Party lawmakers have apologized to the public for taking a Cathay Pacific-sponsored junket to France. Albert Ho and James To issued a statement today saying they accept the public's criticism and agree that accepting invitation to the trip was inappropriate. On top of the public apology, the two will also donate $50,000 each to a charity suggested by Cathay Pacific as payment for family members who took part in the trip. 8 lawmakers from both the pro-establishment and pan-democratic camps went on the 4-day trip, but most insist there's nothing wrong because they have made declarations about the trip.
Residents of an old building in To Kwa Wan want better guarantees about future plans for their home, which will be closed so engineers can get rid of balconies which have been deemed unsafe. Many are unhappy about the sudden eviction order and say their temporary living arrangements are no good. Kirti Nandwani reports.
The sudden eviction order has come as a shock to many elderly residents who live in the 6-story block on 51 Kai Ming Street in To Kwa Wan. But the buildings department says the block's crumbling enclosed balconies are too dangerous and ordered the building's closure yesterday so the balconies can be demolished.
This 56-year-old building is extremely run down. Authorities say it's been overburdened by the number of subdivided flats that have built over the years. You can see cracks along the walls, and it doesn't feel safe standing near it.
There were emotional scenes at a meeting this morning between residents and buildings department officials. This elderly woman is refusing to move to the temporary home arranged for the residents because it's all the way out in Tuen Mun. Others complain that the authorities have not told them what the long-term plans are.
When we ask them, if you cut off the balcony, how about the main body of the building? And then can you make any guarantee about it? It is safe for us to live in. She didn't guarantee anything.
With memories still fresh of the 2010 collapse of another building in the same area that left 4 people dead, engineers say the key to avoid this kind of problem is proper maintenance.
I think the government should really try to help the owners to strengthen the building management. And that is the first part. And then, of course, the education of the owners of older buildings, that maintenance is the way out.
The buildings department says the demolition costs will be shouldered by the homeowners, but Wong says that could be at least $800,000. The residents say they will lobby the Urban Renewal Authority to redevelop the building, although earlier attempts had failed because they couldn't get 67% of owners to agree to a redevelopment plan. Kirti Nandwani, TVB News.
A cross-regional police operation targeting organised crime has resulted in the arrest of more than 1,800 people in Hong Kong. During the month-long operation, over $39 million worth of drugs, weapons and cash was seized. Joel Da Silva reports.
Thunderbolt 13, the code name for a joint anti-triad operation combining the efforts of Guangdong, Macau and Hong Kong police forces. Over 1 month, the Organised Crime and Triad Bureau coordinated an operation that involved police, customs and immigration officers across Hong Kong's 6 police regions. The sharing of intelligence between police forces also meant that fugitives were arrested and brought to Hong Kong to face justice.
Guangdong and Macau police have assisted Hong Kong in arresting 3 wanted persons and repatriated them back to Hong Kong. These 3 persons were involved in money laundering, conspiracy to defraud, and deception respectively. They have now been charged and brought to the court.
The operation targeted over 2,600 locations in Hong Kong, and in a single operation in Kowloon, 59 people from 2 triad factions were arrested. A large batch of weapons, drugs, cash and illegal gambling chips worth $39 million were seized, and a number of gambling dens were shut down. Police noted that many of those arrested are of young age and not yet triad members. The fact that many youngsters were arrested during this operation is no mere coincidence. Thunderbolt 13 was carried out over summer because one of its objectives is precisely to disrupt triad recruitment activities during the summer break. Joel Da Silva, TVB News.
All right, Tony, what's in sports today?
Well, we've got some football, we've got some golf, and we've also got some more baseball to talk about. Tottenham are all set to lose Gareth Bale to Spanish giants Real Madrid, and Spurs appear ready to move on with their second win in as many games. Jameson Wong has more.
New signing Roberto Soldado scored 2 goals as Tottenham thumped Georgia's Dynamo Tbilisi 5-0 in the first leg match of the Europa League playoff round. But all the talk after the game was about Ben Affleck as the new Batman. No, actually, it was about Spurs' own superhero Gareth Bale and the all-but-done deal to Real Madrid. He does look a little like Bruce Wayne.
The team is changing and it's adapting to its new players. I think it was good to test a few things as well. And in the end, we wanted to get a result here that could put us in a good position for the second leg. I think we achieved it.
And you'd think AVB was Superman the way he dodged that bullet. Meanwhile, at Liberty Stadium in Wales, Swansea City defeated Romania's Petrolul Ploiești 5-1 to move closer to the group phase of the Europa League. But best goal of the night from Romania's George Grofsov, holy bicycle kick. Jameson Wong, TVB News.
On to golf, and the PGA playoffs are underway. Tiger Woods is in the mix at the opening of the tournament in New Jersey. He carded a 4-under 67 and trails leader Kevin Stadler by 3 strokes. Many golfers have yet to complete their first rounds due to numerous rain delays. The playoff series final is next month. The champion will get a $10 million bonus. On to baseball now, and a great defensive play to show you. It's from the White Sox and Royals game, top of the 8th, and the game tied at 3-3. Kansas City's Alex Gordon with the diving catch. However, Chicago went on to win the game in the 12th inning 4-3. With the victory, the White Sox completed a 3-game sweep of the Royals. However, both teams are out of the playoff picture with about 40 games left in the regular season. And the St. Louis Cardinals beat the Atlanta Braves 6-2. Cardinals' Carlos Beltran nearly cost his team a run. Beltran missed third base. He had to turn around and touch the bag before heading home. The Cardinals can't afford any mistakes down the stretch. They trail the Pittsburgh Pirates by a game in the National League's Central Division.
And finally for tonight, the power of a storm that made landfall in Fujian province yesterday was also felt in the tidal bore of a river nearby. The tidal bore arrived in Hangzhou, the provincial capital of Zhejiang, yesterday afternoon. Surging waves crashed along the bank and drenched passers-by. The tidal surge later hit the bank and caused a 7-meter-high massive wave. According to authorities in Hangzhou, the 1.8-meter wave marked the biggest tidal bore this year. And that's the news for tonight.
Good night.
Good evening. It was cloudy with showers and a few squally thunderstorms today. At 5 p.m., an active southwesterly airstream brought thundery showers to the coastal areas of Guangdong. And today's temperatures ranged from 26.6 to 29.5 degrees, and the current temperature is now standing at 29 degrees Celsius. 26 millimeters of rain has been recorded since midnight. So, Freddie, how's the weather tomorrow? Mainly cloudy with showers and a few thunderstorms tomorrow. Temperatures will range from 27 to 31 degrees. Expect the showers to ease off with sunny periods on Sunday. Tomorrow's API is forecast at 25 to 85, and the air pollution level will range from low to high. The maximum UV index forecast for tomorrow will be about 6. And now to the latest global weather update. Thunderstorms in Shanghai, showers in Taipei, rain in Xiamen. Rain in Guangzhou, showers in Macau, cloudy in Chengdu. Cloudy in Beijing and Seoul, showers in Tokyo. Thunderstorms in Bangkok, rain in Ho Chi Minh City and Manila. Showers in Kuala Lumpur and Jakarta, sunny in Singapore. Thunderstorms in New Delhi, showers in Karachi and Mumbai. Sunny in Cairo, showers in Nairobi. Sunny in Brisbane, bright in Sydney and Auckland, showers in Melbourne. Sunny in Toronto and New York. Cloudy in Vancouver, bright in San Francisco, sunny in Los Angeles. Rain in London, thunderstorms in Paris, Amsterdam and Zurich, cloudy in Frankfurt. And that's weather. Good night.